Thank you to our sponsors for today's video, Nokian Tyres, Amber, InfyPower, and StarCharge. Nokian Tyres is a leader in safety and sustainability. Maximize performance and efficiency with their made in USA all-season tires and their dedicated Hakkapeliitta EV winter line from the inventor of the winter tire. Learn more at nokiantires.com/EV. And Amber, providing modern protection plans for your Tesla's battery and more, without the hassle of long-term contracts or upfront payments. Check out the link in the description to explore their plan options and use code SPEC5 for a 5% discount on all plans. InfyPower is the largest EV charger module provider with over 3 million power modules running reliably worldwide. Their latest G2 collection features ultra-high power density and efficiency for EV charging and energy storage integration. InfyPower, innovation for your power. And StarCharge, the largest EV charging manufacturer in the world, and is also a provider of residential and commercial battery storage as well as microgrid solutions.
Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. You join me in beautiful, sunny California. I'm in the San Francisco area and I have a Volkswagen ID Buzz. Now on this channel, we have done so much with the ID Buzz, all the way back to the initial unveiling, to driving it in, where the heck were we? Denmark for the first time, going into Sweden on the European launch of the European model. I then took one on a road trip around Norway. We've driven it in Florida at Amelia Island, but now finally I'm able to drive and explore and experience the North American specification of the ID Buzz that will be sold here in the US and Canada. We are exclusively getting the long wheelbase, and while in this video I can't quite tell you how it drives yet, that will come in about a week's time, I am able to take you on a full tour of the pricing, the specification, the features on sale basically now in the US and Canada. So join me for a full tour of the final series production version of the ID Buzz. Well guys, you join me in beautiful sunny California. I'm with my friend Myriam and we're checking out the new ID Buzz long wheelbase. Now the long wheelbase will be sold both here in the US and Canada exclusively, but it will also be on offer in Europe. So if you're watching from a European country, which this is going on sale right around the same time, the 10-inch longer ID Buzz with the bigger battery pack, the new rear motor, the new software, it's essentially a mid-cycle refresh, which is what we're starting with. We are getting it all right here and you can learn about it in this video. So there's going to be a couple things that you guys are going to be commenting on right away immediately. It's going to be, why is it so expensive? Why does it not have enough range? And that's probably the two things you care about the most. And that's the comments. I know that because I've been posting on Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you definitely should, or Instagram. Those are the comments I've received. So I want to address my opinions on those because I don't really disagree with a lot of people. And then we'll go into even more of it when we're able to drive it for the first time, which will come in about a week's time. This particular ID Buzz that we'll be talking about today is what's called the first edition. It means it comes fully loaded, glass roof, unique wheels, what the heck else? A bunch of other stuff. And this one is a rear-wheel drive version. You can tell that it's a rear-wheel drive version because it does not have the 4Motion badge right here. The 4Motion badge adds, not just the badge, but the all-wheel drive adds an induction motor on the front axle, a Magna motor that goes along with the new APP 550 permanent magnet rear motor, which we know from the refreshed ID4 and ID7. And just to quantify, I can't tell you how the long wheelbase drives yet in this video, but I can discuss a lot of my driving experience, things we've already talked about with this standard wheelbase ID Buzz, of which we've now done a few thousand miles in. So we're very familiar with the pre-refresh version. We will become very familiar with this post-refresh long wheelbase, 91 kilowatt hour gross, 85 usable battery. So let's run through all the specs, the pricing, and the range, and then I'll take you on a full tour. Okay, before you start commenting, I just want to say this is an expensive vehicle. There's no way around it. This thing starts at just over $60,000. Now, Volkswagen will tell you it starts at $59,995, but that's before the over $1,000 delivery charge. So it actually starts at like $61 and a bit thousand. That's the cheapest you'll be able to get one. And that's before you pay taxes on it. It doesn't qualify for the tax credit because it's built in Germany, and it just is what it is. Now, for a Volkswagen costing at a base price over $60,000, that's tough to swallow. Wait till you hear how much the first edition costs. This one costs over $70,000. An all-wheel drive first edition will set you back roughly $73 and a bit thousand. So we're not talking cheap, but we actually are talking competitive. When you look at other electric three-row vehicles on the market, Kia EV9, Rivian R1S even, it's in the region. Well, this is not too far off the pricing structure of an EV9. However, are you getting the range, the quality, the, charging performance, all of those things that EV9 is known for? I'm not sure. And as soon as you start thinking about some of the hybrid or combustion variants, if you want to approach this car with a logical frame of mind, look at what the new Hyundai Santa Fe goes for, mid $50,000 range. You get an incredible car, not electric, but it's just, I have to put this up front. We have to quantify. You are paying a premium for the style, the image, the heritage that this car brings along, but also the fun times and the smiles per mile that this will no doubt bring in. I think you already know I've been sold on the ID Buzz. I've loved the standard wheelbase, and here having it in North America is definitely a special treat. It feels a couple years too late, but we are finally here getting the car. So that's the price, really. There's three pricing structures on offer. There's a Pro S, a Pro S Plus, and a first edition. The Pro S and the Pro S Plus are, the Pro S, the standard one's pretty highly contented. It really doesn't, there's not much that you're getting when you spec up to the mid-spec, the Pro S Plus. You get sound system, head-up display, you get the available glass roof, which is an additional option, which I highly recommend anyone gets. It's really nice. It's an electrochromatic glass roof. I'll show you in this. And yeah, a bunch of other little things as well. So that's like $3,000 more. You're already into this thing for over $60,000. Just get the Pro S Plus, fully load this thing, and you're good to go. The first edition comes at an even higher premium, but that literally loads in every available option. This is a fully contented vehicle. So, okay, price aside, I don't think this is going to be, nearly as many units flowing into our market as EV9 or R1S. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a niche-ish vehicle, something that maybe the real enthusiasts will go for and love and choose, and everyone who really wants one probably will be able to get one, but I don't think this is going to be certainly nearing the numbers of ID4 or something like that in terms of sales volume. Then we get to the range, which is 234 miles in the EPA cycle, the new tougher EPA cycle for 2025. Is that enough range? Well, I would say, at least from my experience looking, this is not a driving impression, but from looking at the vehicles that have been here in San Francisco on the launch, they've all been showing well over 234 miles of range at 100% state of charge. And that's probably because they've been driven around the city, but just anecdotally, I would say the highway portion of this vehicle is probably going to take the biggest hit. You have that huge frontal area with not a great CD value, and you have a relatively small battery pack. 91 kilowatt hours sounds great. That's the number Volkswagen's using, but that's the gross capacity. That's not the usable capacity. Usable is 85 kilowatt hours. It's a huge buffer on here. So that's only 5 kilowatt hours more usable than a Model 3 long range. And this is a much larger three-row, absolutely massive vehicle on the inside. Volkswagen told us it has more cargo room than a Suburban on the inside. Now, vans and SUVs have a little bit different SAE way of measuring cargo volume. So again, you always got to take every number given to you with some skepticism, but no question, it's huge in there, and I'll be able to show you around the whole thing. So the range doesn't bother me too much. I've always been a fan of, like, if it can do 200, 210 miles on the highway at 70, 80 miles an hour, that should be okay. It's all about the charging performance. So let's talk about that. So I still feel like this thing might be 10, 15, 20 kilowatt hours short on a battery pack. And I wish there was a really 100 plus kilowatt hour option available, but I think the range isn't going to be a problem for most people. Most people will just drive around town and then do the occasional trip. And on the occasional trip, I think you can probably agree with me that the difference between 230 and 280 miles isn't the make or break. What is the make or break is how quickly can you fill back up the battery pack. Now, we should first talk about the charging performance, and then I'll talk about NACS. But first things first, we have a CCS port on this vehicle. Very interesting looking CCS port with interesting design here. I haven't seen that really ever before. So this is a new type of inlet. They just have these little brakes and little, I don't know, intricate details in there. Like, what the heck's going on? I don't know. Anyway, J1772 will do 11 kilowatt AC charging, so that's 48 amp onboard charger. Volkswagen does recommend an 80% charge limit. I'll show you that in the software, which is totally new and updated compared to the pre-refresh versions. So 80% daily, you can go to 100% for a trip. And then you have your DC pins down here. And then, you know, that makes for your CCS Combo 1 inlet port. In total, this vehicle can accept a maximum of 200 kilowatts, and I would actually say maybe a little bit more. You see, by adding the extra module or modules in the battery pack, I want to say it's a 13 module battery pack now, the voltage has been increased, and therefore for your 500 amps of total current that it can take, you're actually going to get probably 200 or slightly above kilowatts while charging. And we already know that the charging performance of the new ID4 with, I want to say the LG battery, is it? Which one? SK? Can't remember. Maybe it's the SK battery. Anyway, the good charging battery is what's in this one. And forgive me for not remembering all my MEB stuff offhand. It's been a little while since I've done some things with the MEB platform, but this one charges from 10 to 80% in 26 minutes, which is pretty much matching the Kia EV9. Interestingly, this and the Kia EV9 have the same rated peak charging rate. However, my guess is that their charging performance is going to be a little bit different in the real world. The EV9 pulls full power all the way to 80% and then dips. And so on a road trip, you just charge it to 80 every time, and then you go to the next available charger, and then you charge it back to 80. In the ID Buzz, what you're going to want to do is run the out-of-spec way of road tripping, arrive dead or close to dead, and charge until it tapers enough to get to the next station. Either way, I think the charging performance is going to be really good. One of the better charging 400 volt cars out there, because I think it's just going to hold 200 kilowatts pretty deep in the pack, and they top charge really well. This vehicle does show an instant kilowatt meter, which means when you're cruising down the road, you're like, oh, how much power would I get if I plug in right now? It will tell you how much power it will intake in any moment in real time, which is wonderful. And if it requires preconditioning, it'll tell you exactly how long it will take to precondition. And once it's fully preconditioned, what type of power level you can expect. Volkswagen has really done a lot on the charging performance, considering it's still a 400 volt system architecture, to make this work really well from a DC charging perspective, which is really important considering how inefficient this is going to be. Probably 2 miles per kilowatt hour would be my guess, maybe 2.2 on the highway, somewhere around there. The other thing to consider as well is this will get access to the Tesla supercharging network sometime early next year through an adapter, and then eventually through a native J3400 NACS port here. So what that means is this will actually get the full 200 plus kilowatts on a Tesla supercharger, like a Rivian would, but unlike Kia EV9. Kia EV9 only does 86 kilowatts on a Tesla supercharger. So if you're planning on road tripping and using the Tesla network, even though this is going to be more inefficient than a Kia, it's actually going to charge way better on the aging, old 400 volt, well, really technically 500 volt Tesla supercharger network. So that's just something to keep in mind, that, you know, you look at the range number offhand, it's not telling the total picture. I'm not here making excuses for Volkswagen. I still think they should have put a bigger battery in here, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as what everyone thinks right off the top. So that's pricing, that's range, and that's charging. Time to go on a tour. So there's a couple ways to approach the ID Buzz, and I think some of the fanfare, some of the excitement has been lost from the announcement. It's been years since we've seen this vehicle first debuted. I think 9 years since my friend John Volker wrote his first article about Volkswagen maybe making an electric bus some point in the future. So there's been a lot of anticipation, a lot of waiting, And what I think it has is it's allowed the competition to come out with some amazing vehicles. Again, Rivian R1S, EV9, Model X, EQS SUV, etc. Great three-row options that are out there that are electric. And it means that maybe some of the fanfare has been lost. And I think a big selling point for the ID Buzz was the fanfare, it was the heritage, it was the cool factor. And I'm not saying that's necessarily gone away, but what I think also is it now really does have to compete on a minivan three-row level. Now, it is the only electric minivan on sale in our market with sliding doors, and I think it is extremely kid-friendly. There's a lot to love here and a lot of improvements in the long wheelbase that are not found in the standard wheelbase, such as rear air conditioning, which is just somehow missing in the Euro spec standard wheelbase version. So let's go on that tour. I think it's fun to approach it as a really fun vehicle, a happy vehicle, a lifestyle piece, but also it's important to review this as needing to work for families, cup holders, USB ports, ease of ingress, and all of that stuff into the vehicle. So join me as I take you on a full tour. So here it is, the bus. Time to start tip to tail, and let's go explore this thing now that we finally have not a prototype, we have a series production North American spec model. And the first thing you'll notice is what the heck is going on up here. We have Myriam inside checking it out, but you'll also notice we have some driver assistance sensors down here on the windshield. This is so that the windshield wiper can clear it as it does its wipe cycle. And it is a really cool looking van straight on. I love the design. I love the two-tone color combo. By the way, two-tone color combos are sort of in the Pro S Plus and First Edition. The standard ones do not. But when you look at it from the side, you get this very awkward nose extension, and this is sort of an area where the wipers sit, but I can't help but feel like they could have tightened this up a little bit, but maybe there's crash ratings, other sensors in there that need to be there, but it does look a little bit awkward that the windshield's there and the hood's there. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does that look weird? Because you certainly don't notice it looking at it head on. Head on, it looks totally normal. You have the IQ light, so every ID Buzz comes with the full LED, technically Matrix capable, but not Matrix allowed in the US. Matrix has been enabled on Rivian in the US. It's awesome to see them basically allowing functionality. However, for the Germans, I recently spoke to the head of Audi lighting, and he was like, look, the regulations are totally different between the US and Europe, and they even require different bulbs. So Volkswagen Group and others are now having to work on even a different parts supply for these types of bulbs to basically comply with our FMVSS for lighting. So this vehicle, although it has the technology in here for Matrix, still will not be enabled in our market, which is kind of a bummer. But for the US, we get this light bar that goes across when the lights are on, and the Volkswagen badge lights up, which is a pretty cool touch. Under here, you have your front bumper, which looks pretty neat for sure. Your radar right there in the center with some cooling package behind there and ultrasonics around. The front trunk should open, so let's take a look here. So I think I can pull this. Boom, I think. Hopefully I didn't break it. And yes, you can see this has popped out, and we can pull down what could have been a front trunk. It would have been cool if it was a front trunk, but it's just some things. So you have AC, your washer fluid, some lines, things like that. And of course your radar unit that's in here. No, this is just the lighting thing. Radar's down there, that's right. So yeah, just a little neat little hatch, but it would have been cool if there was a little storage cubby up there. But Volkswagen being Volkswagen, we still have no front storage, which is kind of a bummer. The windshield wipers do work like a minivan, so what I can do over here is hit this stalk and kick those on so you guys can see how they look, but they go up like a minivan, which is hilarious, rather than coming down. So that is how those work. Let's continue around on the outside. We have a 20-inch only offering in the US. When I was in Norway, I had the 21s on the standard wheelbase that look so much better. The First Edition have this sort of silver plated wheel on the inside. The Pro S is a black plated wheel on the inside. I would just import a set of 21s, figure out any way possible to get those into our market. It would be so much better. But we have a 235 50 R20 on this side, Continental tire. What the heck is it? It's a Pro Contact TX tire with a TXTO maybe? Anyway, it's probably a Volkswagen specific compound on this particular one. So 235 up front, and then in the back, we have 265, 45, R20. So a really nice staggered setup, and that is common on MEBs. ID4s are also staggered. They tend to actually have quite a bit of lift-off rotation and stuff in ID4, and even the standard wheelbase Buzz. I have no idea about the long wheelbase. I can't comment on how it drives, but I think this paints a picture as to maybe the handling characteristics of the chassis from itself, which sound pretty good. We've got the wipers in service position here. So this is where you could change the wiper blade, and so that way, there we go. Or if it's about to snow, you could keep them up like that. Really wonderful. Down the side, you have these pretty long doors, and what I love about them is, of course, they're powered, and you have a door on either side. So speaking more to the practicality of the Buzz, tons of room to get in and out. This particular one is fitted with the bench seat. Bench seat is only available on the rear wheel drive. If you want to get the captain's chairs, you have to get, or I should say, if you want all-wheel drive, you have to get the captain's chairs, which is, I don't know, captain's chairs or a bench. What would you do? I actually kind of like the idea of a bench, but a lot of my friends like captain's chairs. For me, camping and other things. Anyway, this is one of the largest rear tailgates in the business, done by Magna, by the way. So shout out to them whenever we can. And you can see it absolutely opens with these juicy freaking struts back here. Absolutely awesome. I love to see this. And you've got your trunk closing button in here. You have some lights that illuminate the area down this way, a warning triangle, and even a little manual close strap if you're inside and want to pull it closed for whatever reason, and even a little hidden Buzz right there. Easter eggs all over this vehicle, smiley faces, ID buzzes. It really is a very happy, positive kind of vehicle. Now the headrest can fold by pushing in these little tabs down there, very normal, and you can put that all the way down, and we'll do the same on this side. Boom. And then to fold the seat, you just pull this little tab. That will go. And then I gotta fish for the tab on this side. There we, come on, let's go. Boom. So now you can see we have this sort of flat loading floor. This particular cargo shelf is not standard. This again is something that comes on the Pro S Plus, but it can be added as an accessory on the standard model, which I would recommend because I think it's nice to have this flat floor, and then you get an option to get some little cubbies and some storage under here. But you can, of course, remove this. You can remove the third row, and well, if you have a chainsaw or some bolts, you can remove the second row as well. Everything can be removed, which is great. And back here we have a little bit of, what the heck is in here? Let's take a look. What is going on in here? We have, what is this? I have no idea. An ice scraper, perhaps? Yeah, like a little Velcro. Oh no, these are like storage cubby things where you can like block your cargo in. How about that? And anyway, I'll leave that in there, forget how that goes back, but I'll make sure it goes back. Got some over here as well that you can lock your stuff in. Just some wiring harnesses and other things behind there. You have some coat hooks, 12-volt power outlet. There also is a 115, 120 volt outlet somewhere in the vehicle, but it only does 150 watts. When you have an 85 kilowatt hour usable battery pack, let me take 240 volts. Let me get 10 kilowatts out of this thing, not just 150 watts. However, you can see USB-C ports on either side for the third row. Every USB-C port is 45 watts, which is great, and tons of little storage compartments and stuff. One downside though is all of these inserts, really cheap feeling plastic, other than this armrest material, and even more Easter eggs of the Buzz down there. This interior is called the Dune interior. It is also only available, I should say the first edition is only available with this Dune interior. I absolutely love it. Glass roof, light colors everywhere. I rode around today during our driving impressions that will come out later in some of the darker interior Buzzes. Man, they just felt claustrophobic. I don't know, I didn't like them. Gotta go for the light interior, looks so cool. Love these little first edition details here as well, really giving it this fun character. And one thing that I think you guys will be asking about, because there was a bit of controversy before this vehicle went on sale, was that you can't open the charging port when the back door is open. And technically that's true. It is locked and you cannot open the charging port. However, Volkswagen did think about this. They're not dumb. And when the door is, sort of away from the charging port, I can open this up and it's smart enough to not crash. Watch. Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes, and it stops right there, right on cue. So you can keep the vehicle charging with the door open. However, you do need the door closed when you open the charging port for the first time. There's a huge charging port door. I don't know why it's so big, maybe for global markets, things like China and others where you need GBT plugs, but I would recommend Volkswagen switching to the NACS plug as soon as possible, because this will interface with the Tesla supercharger network wonderfully. You can tell it's a long wheelbase Buzz, by the way, if you're in Europe versus the US and you want to say, oh, is this the long or the short wheelbase? By these windows. The standard wheelbase does not have those windows at all. But in the US and Canada, of course, we only get those windows. You can see this one's equipped with the surround view cameras. We have cameras under here, turn signals in the mirror. These mirrors are quite small. It is something I wish they came out a little bit farther to see around, but you have these big A-pillar windows, big windshield. Visibility is no problem when you're sitting in here, not moving, of course, because it's not a driving impression, but it is tons of glass everywhere around you. It's so cool. You get this great light and airy feeling inside and outside the vehicle, of course, with this specification. So I think what we should do is we should focus on the interior space next. I want to do third row, second row, then we'll get into the first row, dig into the software, some of the menus, some of the settings, and I can really help you guys learn all about the new Volkswagen software, which is a total departure from old Volkswagen software. So let me start by showing you how we get into the third row and how that will all work. So you can also see rear windshield wiper, I should mention. Let's do the third row portion. So to get into the third row, you have these doors that are relatively quick, no major complaints about them. And I just pull up on this little tab and you'll see this whole seat structure moves together, which means if I have a car seat here for families, you never have to take your car seat out, which is wonderful. I can then push this up and out of the way. You can see there's a floor track right here where the seats all fold in and out of. And this one being a rear drive, of course, we have the bench in this particular one. Now to put up the third row, what I find is the easiest is to actually do it from the back. So I'm gonna open up the big hatch. We are going to first unlock the lock position of the seat by pulling on this tab right here. Then I'm gonna pull on this to pull the seat up. Once the seat is up, you can slide this kind of awkward headrest up. What's cool about the third row seats is they are reclining and sliding. So you have a little tab right here that you can slide them forward and back, and you can reach into that tab, the same one that adjusts, to fold, and you can actually recline the third row. So I'll have Myriam grab the camera and she can show me getting back there, which would be great. And very much looking forward to seeing if I can get in the third row. All right, guys, time to jump into the third row. But I'm gonna come back here, and the first thing I wanna do is show you some of the seat adjustment. So down here to my bottom left, I can slide really a lot forward and back. I can then reach behind me and adjust the backrest angle, which is great. So all the way from here, which is as forward as it'll go, all the way back to there. Not huge, but certainly welcome on a third row. I can't think of the last third row I've sat in that has that much adjustment. Another thing to mention is the air vents. There are air vents for the second and third row in the roof with a separate climate control in the back. This is great. Shout out for Alyssa and the dogs. Having great HVAC in a vehicle this big with a big glass roof as this, you need it. And again, the standard wheelbase ID Buzz did not have it, so I'm really happy to see it here. Again, cup holder, USB port back here, all of this stuff. The biggest thing for me is the legroom in the back of this vehicle. So what I'm gonna do is actually have a seat on this side. Myriam can show, look at this legroom, absolutely insane. I'm 6'1" or 1.86 m, and wow, so much room all around this thing. That is the most impressive thing. We've had a chance to sit in Rivian R1S, EV9, EQS, and Model X. Whole nother level of interior space here. I mean, not even close to those vehicles. And just like can completely lounge out. And this seat still can slide more forwards, and I can easily fit there in the second row. So if you want to carry people around with good HVAC and with plenty of room, there's almost no better option than the Buzz in terms of practicality, which is good because I think this vehicle needed something to justify some of its cost, and no question for families, this would smoke the three-row competition for just getting in and out, things like that. EV9 won all of that in our family test that we did a few months ago. This is on a whole nother level in my impression. So jumping out, this one again has the bench seat that I can fold that way. Forgive some of the view as I slide out through here. I have nice vents and I'm out. I do have one complaint about the Buzz, which is where I almost just misplaced my foot. I'll come around to this side and show you. And it's the fact that there's like this awkward running board that dips out. So you kind of almost want to put your foot here, which you can, but then even getting in and out the front, I'm like not sure if I should step up on here first and then climb in, or reach all the way in. And when I'm trying to get out of the Buzz, you really have to, like, this step almost needs to be another 50% lower, because you really have to reach out to get out your foot there. So it is a bit awkward getting in and out of it. And it also puts a lot of stress onto the side bolsters of the seat. Now, this seating material does seem pretty durable. It's not real leather, it's synthetic, all that good stuff. So I think it should wear pretty well, but just an observation. Let's get into the second row option. Weirdly, you can't do this in one motion. You lock the slider in, then you have to pull up this tab, and then the seat will come down. So I really don't like that I have to pull this in order to put the backrest down. But to jump into the second row, here I go. I also have the ability to fully recline, which is amazing. And if I look and find the thing, I can slide all the way forwards here or all the way back, which is really great. And again, to slide this one back, I gotta pull this little tab, and there we go. Weirdly, no center armrest back here. That is a miss, in my opinion. The captain's chairs do have the center armrests that fold out of them, but there's nothing for me to do with my left elbow. And also, because of our weird motor vehicle safety laws, we do not get the trays back here like the other ones get. So no trays out of the back of the seat, but we do have a seat back pocket and a cell phone holder right here, which is kind of nice. Interestingly, I can actually show you over here on this door. If I close this, there's a little button right here for this to auto close. Up here, I have my climate control where I can go fan and temperature. So I can hear the fan going up and down. Normally it would show a, yeah, hold on, fan 7. Yep, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, which is great. So full control over the rear HVAC here. You can see you have your rear heated seat adjustment on this side and your rear window adjustment. It kind of slides open like the back of a pickup truck window would, sort of thing. It's pretty cool, it's pretty fun. It's not necessarily unique to the Buzz. I think the T7 van has this as well in Europe, but hey, I'll take it. It's kind of cool. It's a cool little thing. It's the only vehicle on sale in our market that has a window like this that I can think of. And they put the USB-C ports in the door. So another 45-watt USB-C port right there that I think maybe is a bit dangerous. If you have your phone connected, you're holding on to it, and then whoa, your port goes that way, your phone's gonna go flying out. I don't know, maybe use long cables if you have one of these ones. But you can see just tons and tons of glass space in the ID Buzz. And what's really cool about it is it's electrochromatic. So as I slide my finger on this little thing, you can block out the sun or you can let it through. Now there's nothing above us except blue sky, so the effect isn't as big as when there's an object, but you can completely block this out. And what's really nice is default is it actually blocked out. It uses electricity to make it transparent, but the translucent setting is no electric power consumed. So while the vehicle's parked in a parking lot, it is not getting heated as it goes, or sits there, I should say. Now this center console, again, speaking of more things in the second row, we have a little shelf that pulls out somehow. Let's think about how to do this. Yeah, push down and then you get a little storage cubby. However, this entire panel feels really cheaply made and put in here, which is, I think, kind of a shame. It has some cool features in here. For example, it's got a little ice scraper with a little, you know, I don't know, picture of a snowflake on there. So that's cool, little touches like that. But this can also be completely removed, which that is cool. But I just think, I can't help but wish this was put in here nicer, a little bit more higher quality and not just complete plastic. But the front seats have an armrest there and here. So you got double armrest action going on up there. And that brings us to the next section of this video, which is the front seat review. So let's get into everything going on in the front seat. All right, let me just show you some room here behind the third row, and it's not too much. And yeah, you have enough for a couple bags. This is where it's nice that the third row reclines, because you can push it up all the way and put the angle up if you want to put like a couple roller bags back here. But because it has so much interior volume, they really did put the third row kind of right here at the back of the van. I'm not going to say it's terrible, but certainly I don't think you're fitting 7 people and 7 people's luggage in this thing. But what you can do at that point is actually mount some things on the roof. And on the roof, they have 3 different mounting positions for roof rails. So you can see these 1, 2, 3. And so you can get 3 crossbars back here, which would be cool. Get a kayak, get a surfboard, whatever you want. So plenty of roof mounting options with and without the glass roof. I really love that the glass roof does not impact the roof mounting for this vehicle. Okay, that's everything back here. Now it's time to do the front. So I can close the side doors like I mentioned, this button here, or another set of buttons up here by hitting those right there. You can also disable the power doors just by hitting off, and then that will make all of the buttons not function. Guys, you join me with my friend Myriam. We've done videos before, of course, but where can people find your stuff?
My podcast is the main thing, mobiletechpodcast.com. I write about cars on techradar.com, EVs mostly, car tech. And then you can find my phone reviews and stuff on hothardware.com and a bunch of other places. But check out the podcast, mobiletechpodcast.com.
Your podcast is great. We've done an episode together.
Yeah.
Yep. And you always have a bunch of mobile phones on you, and we're always nerding out about EVs. So it's always fun to get together.
That's right.
Okay, I guess before I start complaining about the window switches, what do you think about the ID Buzz? Of course, we can't mention driving, but just being in here, what's your impression?
Honestly, it's a big upgrade over the Euro model. I didn't spend as much time with you. I didn't go to Denmark or anything, but I had it for an entire day here in the Bay Area. The one that was all wrapped crazy, like 60 style last year.
Yeah.
They lent me that for a day to drive around. And, it was nice, but I was like, I felt it was a little underpowered. Coming from most of the EVs I drive, it felt that way. And then also the other problem was that, like this rear, like you in the rear is like a penalty box, like no ventilation, no windows.
Yeah, no glass roof.
And also not too many options for the seating compared to this. And so now we have all-wheel drive. We have, all this great stuff that Kyle showed you in the video. And I think that makes it so much better. So I'm much more excited about this. I do miss some stuff like the trays.
Yeah.
And the matrix headlights and stuff that eventually will come online, I hope. But overall, I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty happy.
So Myriam, Volkswagen has been doing this window switch situation since the ID3 and ID4. And it is essentially where you have the front switches can also turn into the rear switches by way of selecting the rear button. And to me, this is the dumbest thing on the planet. And how is it still in here?
Oh, it's so bad. And it's like the worst part about it is that it's a capacitive button that switches front to rear.
Yeah, it doesn't always grab it.
You touch it.
Yeah.
Like, this entire control panel is garbage. Like basically, like you can accidentally touch the lock and unlock buttons, which are also capacitive.
Yep.
Like if you try to adjust the mirrors, half the time you lock yourself in.
Because you're hitting this and you brush up on the...
brush off on the rear. Next time you open the windows, you're like ready to go. You go to the toll booth and you push the button and the rear window opens and you feel like a complete fool.
Yeah,
You know who else does this, which I was really disappointed, Volvo and Polestar.
So we had dinner with the interior designer for the EX90, and she will never come back to America.
She'll never talk to us ever again.
No, we really pissed her off. But I was like, how can you put this in your car?
I know.
And she was like, she thought it was a design feature. And I'm like, lady.
I think they kind of think that nobody uses the rear windows or something. And I have to say, it's a bit less egregious on the Polestar and Volvo because you can't hit that rear button as easily.
Right, you have to press it in.
But it's before the switches. Like here it's above the switches,
yes.
Right? But on the Polestar and Volvo, I think it's below.
Right, it's here.
So then you tap it as you go to reach for it.
Right, but here you got to go out of your way. But there is one trick in the Volkswagen, which is cool, and I can demonstrate this here. So let's say you roll open some windows that you don't really want. You just want everything closed. You can push and hold rear for a quick second until it starts to flash.
And then it closes everything?
It closes everything, one switch.
But why not just put 4 switches and be like normal?
Yeah, I don't know. Because on your $70,000 van, they got to save the 20 cents.
On the plus side, you can start this car by hitting the brake pedal and walk away from it, and it'll turn off.
So that's a great point. There is a start button as a backup.
EVs do that.
But you can just get in, put your foot on the brake, drive, go, and then you get out just by leaving it and walking away. So that is such a key feature.
Because who needs power buttons on EVs?
Yeah, power buttons are dumb.
No, exactly. You don't need them. And, if you could say, what about accessory mode? Well, you get in the car.
Got this right here.
Yeah, well, in this car you have this, but in other cars you just hit the brake pedal, and as long as you don't do anything with the gears, you're fine. You're in accessory mode.
Yep, totally agree. So love that. The one thing that it is missing, though, from an app perspective is no phone key and no ability to text people keys.
Yeah, I mean, there's this software is this infotainment system, the software and the hardware is much improved from the European model.
Absolutely.
And
It's
the
as fast
original
as you can get anything.
ID4 was, you know, kind of.
Yep.
This is the same as the higher end ID4 for 25, I
Yep.
think.
Model year
20,
25. Got it.
yeah,
Yep.
that's the one I played with. There's still some things though. I'll show you. Maybe this will do it. Let's see if I can do a voice search. How to activate that? Is there a button there?
Yes.
Navigate to SFO.
It didn't even know we were talking to it. There it goes.
This is very
Yeah,
basic. So try it
okay.
again. Navigate to SFO.
Navigate to SFO. Maybe it's a seating position thing.
Yeah, you're right. Let's try it
Yeah,
again.
yeah. I'll try it this time. Navigate to SFO.
I'm still puzzled.
She's still puzzled.
So she cannot navigate to SFO.
That's
I've tried this. It's a nightmare. And I have a reel I made of this where I try to get her to go home to my place and she just doesn't want to do it.
So the voice
It's-
assistant's not good.
No, but I think it's something to do with the nav. Like, how does it not know what SFO is?
Yeah, you do that in Tesla and it's done in 1 second.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In any car, really. Like, so I mean, look, I don't want to be too mean on Volkswagen because it's a huge improvement, software and hardware
Absolutely.
here. This is nice and responsive. Everything's great. It's got the basics, but it's no Android Automotive. It's no Tesla infotainment. You know, it still has a ways to go.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I want to show the viewers a couple things on here for sure, but just to continue with the tour, you have your lighting controls down here. The all-wheel drive models add a heated windshield. So if you ever see a heated windshield, rather than just like that, but an actual physical heated windshield button, that means it's all-wheel drive. You have a little just storage cubby for not much there. And then your wireless phone charger is here with 2 more USB-C ports. You got ports everywhere in this thing.
It's
which is
insane.
awesome.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's one here. You got 2 here. Do you have one in your door too?
No, not in the door.
No,
Yeah, because they
that's
got the trunk switch.
release. There's 2 in the back on the doors, and then there's 2 in the very back, right?
Yeah, and they're
I think
all
there's
45 watts, which is okay.
there's more somewhere. I
Yeah.
saw some more.
Yeah, so it's pretty
Did
powerful.
you notice how this
Yes,
removes
this can be
completely?
completely removed.
Which
yeah.
is kind of weird, actually. But and then the glove box. Actually, it's nice to have a glove
How
box.
much is the spec on this one? Let's pull the window sticker right there. It should be like 70 something thousand, I think. Let's take a look, because this is a first edition, and it is 67. Oh, never mind.
Because it's not
Because not all-wheel drive.
I think 70,000 is all-wheel.
Yep, first edition, 67 grand. So I was in a Pro S today, all-wheel drive. That was 71.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh boy.
What did they add to it for that?
Color, that was the only other thing. It was just $1,000 for the color.
Was that the silver and red?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like the interior though.
Yeah, the interior is not great. You got to have this interior. This is the way to go.
This is the interior to go. I have to say, like, you know, this is really nice. It does, unfortunately, it doesn't feel like, you can't feel the open pore. I think they
No, it's
coated it with
plastic.
something. Is it plastic?
It's straight plastic.
Oh man.
Yep, I'm sorry to burst the bubble.
Volkswagen.
Yep, everything's kind of plastic everywhere. All of this is cheap plastic. And again, you have to judge it as a $70,000 car, or in this case, $67,000
I mean, you know,
car.
we can't speak too much with our Model 3s. I mean, I don't have one anymore, but
Sure.
I used to, and you still have one.
Yeah, but they're not 70 grand.
No, they're not 70 grand. But I think I can excuse the 70 grand because this is a van, and there's nothing like it. Right?
Yeah,
Even
it's very
the EV9, which is probably the next best thing to this in terms of family transportation. Doesn't.
Yeah, this is way nicer than EV9.
This is really nice. I mean, and the other thing is, another thing you don't see on a lot of cars anymore is
Yeah,
like,
oh shit handles.
the holy crap handle.
Yeah.
You know, I dig this interior. I think you're right. It could be a higher grade. I think the problem is is they made this for Europe and they made it more affordable there. You know, rear wheel drive, single motor, all that, small battery pack, short wheelbase. No goodness for the back, right?
Right, yeah.
No vents, nothing. And then they're like, oh, the US, they want all this stuff. But then, you know, they didn't change the materials. They didn't change. I really thought this was open pore all this time.
Yeah, no, it looks
Damn.
great in photos, but not when
I
you
know.
touch it.
Yeah, it feels really, and then, you know, like even this, like this, all this stuff here it's very much like, I used to have,
just hate this.
I used to have a Volkswagen camper, like a Eurovan,
Yeah.
93, I think it was. The first year they brought it to the North America with a 5-cylinder, 5-speed manual, not the VR6 that had an auto that would break after 30,000 miles every time. And I swear to God, the materials aren't better.
Wow.
Like it had that terrible gray material though.
Yeah.
That would kind of fade to white over time. You know?
Sure.
Like especially when you go to the desert a lot, like I was.
Yep.
But that's why I'm excited about this product because I'm a Volkswagen customer. You know,
Yeah.
I've owned a bunch like Golf R and stuff, and that camper, and I want this as a camper.
Yeah, well, I think I talked to
pop
Pablo
top and
Desi today,
everything,
who's the CEO of VW for our market, and he mentioned camper version coming.
What about our ID2 all R model? That
Yeah,
we
I think
want,
it's just a
remember?
dream.
Also, this is an R camper.
Hell
Remember?
yeah.
Pop top open,
Yeah.
wheelies, burnouts. I don't know. I think like going back to tech, I haven't driven it yet on the freeway to try out the ADAS.
Yeah,
What's I know we can't talk about.
I can't talk
driving,
about it.
but at the same time, I'd be curious to see how much that's improved because the bar has been raised, you know, from the competition. So that's another thing to stay tuned for.
Yeah.
But
In
this,
terms of feature set, what we can say, it has the same feature set as ID4.
yes. Also, watch this. This is really cool. I don't know if it's on all the models, but I'm getting a massage.
It is on all the models. It is a standard one, and you can choose. It just uses the lumbar in the middle, but you
it's
can
very
choose
nice.
from
And
three.
also, my butt's being cold right now.
So let's go through and just run through everything that's in front of me then, while you're getting your lovely massage.
It's fantastic.
So I've got all the wiper controls here. All of these switches have gotten really ugly, by the way, compared to the early ID4s. It's just straight plastic. I'm not sure what's going on. But you have a rear wiper, front wiper, and a wash by pushing in. And let's just do that. Let's see the spray. Does not come out of the windshield wipers, just comes out onto the windshield. We have our shifter right here, which is where we can go into drive and then braking to increase regen, and then reverse, which pulls up your reversing camera and your 360 degree, which
You can't.
can't get any bigger than that, but at least you've got a 360
I don't think
degree
you can
view.
rotate it either.
No, pretty basic one, but there is some parking assist and other things that can, maneuver braking, all of these safety related functions. We can't say how any of those work, of course, but we can at least show you the camera, which is cool. The car actually just shut off as I put it in park, so I've hit the brake to turn it back on.
Yeah.
And in this display window, you have this view button, and this view button basically changes to allow different menus to pop up. So in this case, we have all of our driver assistance on the left and speed on the right. I can then swipe this way, and right now it's showing, okay, we've got some seatbelts unbuckled. Actually, Myriam, if we just buckle up, we should be able to clear that.
Also to note the capacitive madness on the steering wheel.
Yeah, a lot of people are not a fan of the capacitive buttons. I am weird, but everyone I know hates them. And this is kind of an awkward way to do it, especially going around corners. You might hit the heated steering wheel button by accident. So that's just something to be mindful of. But that should go into a trip computer, I thought, on the right side. Maybe not. Definitely, you can get a trip computer here. Forgive me for not being up to date on all my MEB stuff, but it does show you a few different trip computers on the right side while you're cruising, which is great. So that's everything there. You've got your driver assistance and volume on the left, and you've got your control for this screen and next track and back on the right. And that brings us to really the next main focus of this video, other than the seat comfort. I guess before we get into infotainment, just to mention the seats do have a thigh extension, which is great. And they are massaging as standard, heated and cooled as standard, and you can heat and cool at the same time because this car is a German product and they know how to engineer a good car. So anything on the seats, we've got double armrests. You also have one on the right
there's
side.
one on the other side. Unfortunately, if you put it down, getting out, it kind of gets in the way of getting out.
Yes, and getting back in is actually the biggest pain. If you put this down, you kind of
It's
like
very comfortable though.
sit on this by accident. Yeah, so I hope the mechanism is strong on this particular one. But yeah, seats are great, no question. I love the play and pause buttons. I love the space everywhere. It's no question a great family vehicle. So now let's get into software. The most important thing to me that Volkswagen needed to work on compared to the older versions was route planning. The route planning was absolute trash, technical term, in early Volkswagens.
Garbage.
So what we're going to do now is put in Fort Collins.
Go home.
Yep.
Let's just go
Can
drive.
you
They
swipe?
won't miss us.
Yeah, let's just go. I already asked them if I could road trip one home later, and they said, nope, they all have to go back for reconditioning.
Oh, reconditioning.
Yeah, or some checks. I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, calculating the route. So,
Please drive to the route
1,200 miles,
channel. The next stop
charging stations already added, and ready to rock
Your
and
route
roll.
has multiple necessary
Look at this.
charging stops.
So it tells you where to
Ooh.
stop.
Non-preferred chargers are being used to plan the
Will
route.
this lady stop talking? But you can see it tells you how long you need to stop for, which is great. 30 minutes, 33 minutes at the most. That is great because this is a great charging electric car.
Filling up at 9%.
Ending at 80.
80%, not bad.
Yeah, this charge
tells
is
you roughly
ripped.
how long.
Yep.
And is there any kind of like, can you tell what amenities are there?
No, I don't think so. You can just kind of look on
That's
a map.
not bad though. You can kind
Yeah.
of do like this is a blimpy and a 76, so you can probably go to the bathroom there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. That's much better.
But
much,
that's
much better.
amazing. That's honestly faster than Tesla for the route planning. That was really, really quick in my opinion. I love that. And you can see the e-route planner. You can say remaining charge at destination. Okay, I have charging at home, so 5 miles. And at the charging stop, get me to 5 miles. I want to pull in dead and rip full speed. So
That's you.
yeah. So good luck to whoever drives this car next because I've set you to the proper settings.
Oh boy.
So now we were calculating the route
Please
and like
drive to the
they
route
finally
shown.
got it.
The next stop
But
over
she's
is
not
on
going
a
to stop
limited
talking, is
access
she?
road.
How do we mute her? Voice guidance off. Thank you. And
Now you're really confusing the next person.
yeah, then it's not going to say anything and they're going to be rolling up dead, which is the way to do it. So I'm really, really loving all of this. So we're already in nav and then I go here. So that works out well. Yes, no need for heated seats
Yeah,
on
it's
this
a
warm
nice
day.
day today.
What else do we have in here that we can show everyone? Well, we've got our main like options and menus. So let's just quickly run through everything available. So you have your Bluetooth, you have media. Is there a way to get Spotify built in to this source? Negative. Internet radio? We're not a registered user. So we might be able to, through the Volkswagen app, actually hook up our streaming
It
services.
could be. I don't know. I haven't tried this yet.
Yeah, me either. So that's something when we get it on
And
loan.
you know the problem with the loans too is they often don't give you the app, and you have to like really jump through a bunch of hoops to get
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah, but Volkswagen's always provided me with it.
okay, good.
Yeah, so I have to say props to them for giving us all of that. I can't say the app is amazing. It doesn't show like real-time charging speed. You can't, of course, share access to the vehicle. Also, just on the
key.
topic of all of this, did you know there's no dog mode in the most dog-friendly vehicle?
Is there at least a camp mode?
No. There is.
Notice how also when I was taking my photos and videos earlier, like every time I opened the door and got out, like it would shut down, and then them in the back trying to do a rear windows demo, and I can't.
You got to come in and hit this every
know.
time. So there's also no way to leave the climate on for more than like 30 minutes. You have to just keep re-hitting it on your phone.
Software update. The problem is, okay, so you're gonna say this can be fixed in software.
Yes.
But the track record for Volkswagen and software updates is so abysmal that like literally they redid this hardware and software for this generation ID Buzz for the US market.
it still doesn't
and for
have
the
it.
ID4. And that's how most people got a software update.
Yes.
So my hopes are very low.
I talked to the product planners and I was like, why does this not have dog mode? How can you sell this car without dog mode? This is absolutely crazy. How can you not have camp mode? This is a vehicle that literally is built for camping. And they were like, oh, well, we've heard the engineers mention it. So they're like, this is not the first time we're hearing about it. I'm like, well, no shit, we want it. So this is a plea to Volkswagen. We can't recommend people to buy this car until you can leave the climate on.
How is it that half the people who, pitch EVs don't know anything about EVs?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, at least in mainstream traditional manufacturers, except for maybe the Koreans.
Yeah, the Koreans got it down pretty good, I would say. They have utility mode at least. Okay, so you've got your main home screen that you can slide through here with your main tiles, but other apps include navigation. We just went in there into vehicle.
This is actually really cool. Look,
Yes.
you can. This is how I accidentally did the service position earlier.
Yeah, you've got all these
So I was
cool
like,
little things.
ooh.
You can also get to your ESP settings by
You
going
can
into
see the
brakes.
software is nice. This used to be like so bad before.
Yeah.
Like you would touch and 5 seconds later this would move and it would be like 5 frames per second.
Yep. Yeah, no, everything's super snappy
That's
now,
great.
which is really great. Interior, you've got some different things like your ID light. That's this light bar across the dash, and it will do like things like when you have to make a turn, it will fly to the right. Also head-up display for the first time, and an MEB product in the US, which is amazing. This is the longest MEB, the biggest vehicle built on the MEB platform, and yep, of course, the most contented as well. parking. What does this do? Oh, like automatic parking
Yeah,
and
you
stuff.
can go to your cameras and stuff as well.
Charging menu. Everyone's going to be interested in this, Myriam.
Yes, we should set them to 80%.
Proper. That's what I like to see. So they actually do recommend an 80% for daily driving. And you can go as low as 50% if you're weird like me. So you can see it wants us to get to 62 for charging to make it to our destination. That's in the nav right now.
Oh, because we're going to Colorado right now.
Yes, that's what it thinks we're
great.
doing.
All
So
right.
pretty cool. And then I love this feature as well. It will tell you your real-time charging potential, quick charging potential.
Oh, every EV needs that. So how can they not have dog mode and they have this?
I know, it's like you've gone so
Like,
crazy cool on
86.
this.
So this is how fast you can charge right now.
Yeah,
best
at
case scenario.
69%.
Yeah,
Yep. And then
because we're not driving and the battery's cold.
earlier today I got in one with a cold battery. Again, not a driving impression, but it showed this number was like 50 kilowatts or 55 kilowatts because it was a cold battery. And it said if you were to precondition the battery, you would get up to like 85 kilowatts, it would say. And then it would say 16 minutes of preconditioning required to get to maximum performance. And there was a manual preconditioning
I was going to say,
button.
is there a button? Oh my God.
Yes.
Another thing that should be on every EV is a manual override.
Yes, and so this has it, but only when you need it, which is really great.
Cool.
Yep, see, this is so good. This is so
Like, I
good.
almost feel like some of these settings should even be like weird, like Nintendo, like, cheat codes.
Yes.
Like, for those of us who know what we're doing, it's
Yep.
like, up, down, left, right, whatever, and then boom, you get to your little button for preconditioning.
Give us like an out of spec mode somewhere.
No, that's called service mode on Tesla.
Yeah, service mode, also, absolutely. And you can do like save charging locations and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's all really
Yeah.
cool. What else do we have in here? So the charging menus, they really got that down. Auxiliary climate is more like preconditioning logic. So this is where you can set it for a certain time, or when you click unlock on the key. You have all your driver assistance menus. So your lane keeping assist.
It vibrates your steering wheel.
Yeah, you've got all this cool, side blind spot. That's all normal and standard. The entire safety suite is actually standard on every Volkswagen, which is pretty cool. In here in units, we have all of our normal stuff, miles per kilowatt hour, or you can do MPGE if you're a weirdo. I don't know who would ever use that, so that's dumb.
Who's the hypermiling guy? He probably does that.
Yes, we probably know a few people who do MPGE. We've got Wi-Fi connectivity. You've got hotspot for your mobile devices, which is great. We have, what else do we have? Drive modes. So you have Eco, Comfort, Sport, and Custom. Custom is where you can go in and dial in, okay, do you want your overall driving dynamics versus steering versus drivetrain, your adaptive cruise control, your light assist, which is how quickly they turn when you go around corners, and your climate control. Myriam only keeps her life in sport mode.
Well, mostly, but if I had to do comfort, I would do I would do this. Like, I think I would go, okay, sports for sure. Steering, maybe, depending on how it feels on the car. Definitely this in sport. But then all this, suspension, I think.
No adaptive suspension in this one.
Yeah, I see. So I might actually go comfort for that, simply because I find that on these twisty, crazy roads with off camber and the potholes and stuff, it's nice to have a car that has a little more travel and a little more damping, right? So I would do this, and then let's do that, and then here, yeah, that's fine. So that's kind of like the Myriam setting for this part of town, depending on how the things
Sorry
feel.
about that.
Wow.
Service mode.
Wait, you found
I
it.
pushed and held the home button.
Okay, see.
What do we
there it
have
is.
in here? Software
All right.
update.
Start. Let's see what happens. Oh shit!
This is all going different colors.
Yeah, turn it off. Maybe turn it back on.
No, let's see what it
Come
does.
back.
We'll give it a second.
Oh man, we're
We're
breaking it.
resetting everything, so maybe it thinks we're manually software updating it then.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, I guess
yeah.
I think it would pull it off the air. What's it saying?
Oh, it says everything's not available, but it's coming up.
Oh my god! Yes!
This is the same menu you get in Taycan, actually.
Really?
Yeah, so now we can reboot to normal.
Normal
This is
mode,
engineering
active-
mode.
Oh, this
so
is
it's
great.
running on the same back-end software as Taycan. Or at least this is literally the same
This
as
is
Taycan.
amazing.
We found the secret menus.
This is
Hell
what
yeah.
we're tech nerds too, as well as car nerds.
Yeah,
That's
so
how
you
we
just
do it.
push and hold the home button and
Okay,
then you
now
can...
we know. That was a good discovery.
Yeah, so in the Taycan, you have to do 2 fingers in the top right-hand corner.
Oh.
And this one, you just push and hold
Oh,
the home
look, it
button.
rebooted. Nice. Oh,
Yeah, so that's your quick reboot as
and
well.
you guys get to see the boot screen that way.
This is booting pretty quickly.
Yeah, this is very good.
Yeah, so we'll give it a second. We don't need to go back to Fort Collins.
Okay, so let's
actually
do this again though and see. Wait.
Yeah, keep pushing.
There
There
we
we
go.
go. HMI versions.
All right, all your software versions, so you can
Okay.
tell.
Okay, don't know what the heck
No, it's a
is
lot
going on in here. ITR.
ITR.
Doesn't do anything. Anyway, that was fun.
I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
show something actually that's cool
Yeah.
on here is if you go to, let's see, it's in the first part, App Connect. So this is where you might be able to also set up like CarPlay, of course, but maybe that's where the Spotify integration works. As well.
Okay.
It might get it off your phone, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you have CarPlay and Android Auto in this
of
one,
course
both
you do.
wireless.
Yeah.
So that's pretty sweet. Definitely worth mentioning. Ambient lighting, we have a bunch we can choose from in terms of custom modes here, or I should say pre-selected ones.
Custom,
And you can do a top and bottom color separate. And you can choose which version.
Color.
Yeah, so I don't know if I would select that particular combination, but we'll go with Vitality.
Ooh.
And then we have our seat settings. This is what you had mentioned earlier, where you can choose the duration and level of massage.
This is what you have right now. This is your side.
Yep, so it's going. But the one thing is the seats make a lot of noise when they're massaging.
Yeah.
So the air bladder, you can hear it pumping up and psh.
I want the, I noticed there's a bug on this. See, it doesn't necessarily change it right away.
Yeah.
When it's running, so you have to kind of start it up again.
Okay, interesting. And then there's also a seat position. With this view open, the driver's seat control can adjust the passenger seat. So am I? Oh yeah, I'm moving your seat from mine.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I can sync the front passenger seat
Let's do that.
by pressing and holding synchronize. So now,
No, I'm getting the Kyle experience.
so now you and I will be in the same seating position.
Yeah.
Why would you need this?
I can only think of one thing. For a camper van,
Yeah.
eventually when you can rotate the seats, you probably want the seats in the same position so you maximize the interior space in the back.
Not confirmed that the seats will do it, but it would be cool.
I'm just assuming.
Yeah. So that's,
Or
I've never
it
seen
could
this
just be
feature.
a German thing. They're like,
No, even
everything
like
must be
S-Class
orderly.
doesn't have that.
Everything must be orderly. Everything must be organized. We're going to do this.
I love it. Okay, well that's freaking
My
cool,
OCD is
actually.
very happy with this.
I know,
think
for, like,
right now.
photography?
For 5 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this-
for photography. Exactly, that's for us.
I love it. Okay, how cool is that? What else do we have in here? Oh, sound system settings. The HK comes on the mid-spec and higher, so you get Harman Kardon 700 watt. Can't remember how many speakers. It was pretty good, actually. I listened to it
it's a
earlier.
good system.
You gotta bump the subwoofer up. That's the only way I listen to music
Of course.
anyway. And then it was all right. So I would say it's not like BMW iX.
It also looks like it has like different presets or something here for like
different types of listening.
kind of listening experiences.
That looks like how I like to listen to music.
Yeah,
So
right on.
all good. All right. We'll do more on that stuff when we get it back. Of course, users, you can set up different users with app access. Ida is your assistant. She doesn't seem to be very good yet.
She doesn't know where SFO is.
Yeah, she doesn't know where SFO is. ID software, normally this is where I would go to show you guys what version of the software we're running, but you need to be a key user in order to show that. And since we're not logged in, it won't tell us.
And that's why we have the long press.
That's why we have the long press, absolutely. And then we have some climate control settings. This is really important. So you have an auto level, and then you have a couple things like this is if you don't know how to manually set air conditioning, you want fresh air, quick heating. I've never found any of these to be useful. I just do it manually. Do you use this?
No, I wouldn't. But at the same time, I think it's cool because, you know, I'm sometimes really dumb when I haven't had coffee in the morning. So you come in, you're like,
Yeah, clear.
okay, cool feet, done, you know.
Yeah, and then it just blasts cold air down.
And then, you know, quick cooling here. I'm going to turn this off.
Actually, you know, it's probably not that bad of an idea to have it.
Since it's all software based, this is not a bad idea. It's like kind of presets or something.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, actually, I guess.
And then
Warm
I love
hands
it.
puts on
Okay,
the heated
this is
steering
very
wheel.
weird. Look, the steering wheel is here, but you have to reach all the way here for your heated steering wheel.
Or you can hit this button.
Oh, there's a button. Okay.
There's a
Because I'm
quick
like,
key.
wow, that is something. Oh, and it's 3 levels.
Yep,
Nice.
3 levels.
This is very German.
That
I
is
like
very
it.
German,
Yes.
absolutely. And standard feature as well, which is great to see.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's the climate stuff. But again, we totally don't like that there's no dog mode, so that's crazy. Other things that we have going on in here, app updates. This vehicle does support over-the-air updates to almost every module. These are now backlit. Hallelujah. And
At last.
yeah, and I don't really think there's much more about the software to say. So that's kind of the big updates, the big tours on ID Buzz. Forget anything, everyone out of the vehicle? I think I'm going to give us a good wrap-up tour. I should fold the seats all the way down. We should show what the space looks like with everything
great.
folded. Yeah. And then we'll end the video. So let's do that. Yeah, so let's pull the seats all the way down. So the first thing I'm going to do is move that up so we don't leave an impression in the fake leather. And I don't think we actually pull this. This is how you get into the third row. So we don't want to hit that one. What we want to do is to hit this one and then
flat.
completely flat. And it doesn't seem apparent to me at the moment how easy it is to remove this, but I think it's just a couple bolts and you could almost turn this into a cargo situation.
Based on my previous experience, you pull on this.
I tried pulling on them earlier and they didn't do anything.
Interesting.
Yeah, I ripped on them too. So then those are down. Let's fold the third row down. So
This is the coolest feature.
we'll put the headrest down and then we can fold the seats down. So there's a little, the little impression notch that you can hit there. Then you pull the tab that's inside here. Yep. And then force them down. And holy smokes, you've got yourself all the room in the world. Look at that.
I love how you can just pull it up like this.
Yeah, but you've got to hit
You have
the...
to pull this first.
Yep.
Then you just go over that.
It's so easy.
So easy.
Yeah, they have
Also, do you notice,
nailed it.
You can do this, and then if you pull it again, you can pull it on a little more.
Oh, a little recline.
So
Yeah.
then, look, if you pull it, then it goes all the way back again. It's very clever.
Hell yeah. And I just love the space. No question. This is like perfect for the dogs. And yep, 12 volt back there. I wish there was a insert or an accessory. Someone will make one.
Oh, guaranteed.
That will just turn this whole thing into a bed. And you've just got the perfect camping vehicle right here that's electric.
Where's the back move thing? To slide it back and forth.
Oh yeah, it should be right in the center of the bottom, like in underneath the bottom cushion.
Underneath the bottom cushion.
Yeah.
I might have to put it back up. But I
Yeah.
have a feeling. Oh, there you go. So this one is all the way back.
Yeah.
So you can also save a little bit of space.
Yeah, absolutely. You get a few more inches here by sliding this back and then folding it. But I do think someone, you could just put like a little board here and then a mattress on top. It wouldn't be too creative. I think the problem comes when you get the captain's chairs on the all-wheel drive. You get this big hole in the middle here.
Yeah, and so somebody can create like two versions.
Yeah, so
like a T inflatable and a single inflatable.
Absolutely. You've nailed it. Yeah, this is so cool, isn't it? Just give us camp mode and then we'll be totally sold.
Because how can you like not have camp mode?
So this costs pretty much the same as a base Rivian R1S when you get the all-wheel drive one of these. Which would you do?
Okay. Rationally, the Rivian. Emotionally, because I'm a Volkswagen camper girl at heart, this. But the Rivian makes more sense at that point. The off-road capability, the fact that it's so much better software, so much better infotainment, everything. That performance,
Yeah.
even at the base.
The dual motor, you can drift it around everywhere. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So I think that's going to be it is.
I hate saying that.
Yeah, me too.
They could do something as good, almost. Not quite there.
Not quite there yet, but okay.
But it's here.
It finally. I think if this launched 2 years ago, before R1S was on the market, before EV9 was on the market, this would have been a home run without question, even at this price. You're certainly probably going to see a surge of 6 months or 1 year of, interested parties going for them, Volkswagen heritage people. But then I'm not so sure what to think after that. Then it has to compete as a minivan, and certainly it's way more exciting than a Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid or a Sienna, but it costs more than those. Not that much more than the plug-in hybrid Pacifica, like if you get a fully spec'd one, to be honest. But overall, yeah, what a cool vehicle. So let me share my final thoughts with you guys, and then we'll end this video, and you'll have to wait for my driving impressions to come in about a week's time. Well, guys, there you go. Our full tour of the North American spec series production ID Buzz. I've now had the chance to take a look at a Pro S Plus and the first edition, and there really isn't that much difference between them, but I certainly love this spec, this color combo, the orange with candy white, the bright blue with candy white, the yellow, maybe my favorite. And overall, I just love the positivity, the flair, the fun of this vehicle, and that captures me as a
Volkswagen bus enthusiast and someone who really appreciates these vehicles. However, that's a very unique situation as a car enthusiast where I find a lot of, emotional heritage that I really find attractive about this car. But it does need to compete on the same level as an EV9, as a Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid, as a minivan. And from a space and utility perspective, no question, it absolutely does. There's also a trailer hitch that sort of folds into place. You can tow 3,500 pounds all-wheel drive or 2,700 pounds rear-wheel drive, and it just there's a little latch and it pops down. It's a little 1-inch receiver though. It's a small one, but still you can tow some things with it, which is cool. And so there is some utility, there is some certainly fun factor, but I can't help but respect your comments and reading what the general vibe of the EV enthusiast perspective is, which is it's maybe 15 kilowatt hours short on the battery and maybe $10,000 too expensive or more. And I think that it's a tall ask, especially when you're going up against some amazing high quality refined vehicles with better materials than this for maybe just slightly more money. Rivian R1S comes to mind. And it's definitely a better family vehicle though, so you really have to balance out what you're looking for. Do you want to have the coolest car in the car pickup line? Because I think this is going to be it. It's also the only minivan that is electric in our market, and I absolutely love that, and people will really love that. It is practical, it is fun, it's enjoyable, and it's a really cool product. No question you're paying a premium for it, but sometimes things that are fun are worth paying for. Let me know what you guys think. The range doesn't really bother me so much at this moment. It's more the charging performance I'm excited about. And the price, yeah, I totally get it, but I think they're gonna have no problem selling every single one they want to for at least the first year or two. After that, not sure what will happen. Maybe they'll do camper versions, other special editions, and I really hope Volkswagen has some fun with this. It's important to remember that this is the halo product for Volkswagen. This is the Celestiq, as it is to Cadillac. This is the ID Buzz for Volkswagen as an example. So I think it's okay that it's a bit expensive, that on paper it doesn't always make sense, but it is the emotional buy, and certainly I'm happy just playing around with it. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks to Myriam for joining on this video, and we'll see you on another one again soon. Myriam?
Yes.
What'd you just find?
I found magic. There's a USB-C port up here for a dash cam or something.
Hell yeah, they got the dash cam mounting.
Is there one on
right
this
there.
side too? No?
Nope, just the dash cam
I
wiring.
guess, but then again, see, my question is, if you're a proper car company, you have a dash cam built in.
Right, they have cameras here. Why can't we use those?
Where's my dog mode?